Welcome to another talk in the series Messianic Expectations in Acts 17. Messianic Expectations in Acts 17 is a 12-part series. Part 1 through 6 looks at the Old Testament scriptures. Part 7 through 8 looks at intertestamental books such as Psalm of Solomon and 1st Enoch. And parts 9 through 12 looks at people and their opinions at the time of the 1st century. We'll look at Samaritans, Pharisees, Essenes, and Philo of Anderson, who wasn't focused on the Messianic expectations in his writing, but he was living in an environment in Alexander where there was rampant hope that the Messiah would come. Well, let's look at Psalm 89. In Psalm 89, which is rather lengthy, we have a set of we have first lengthy praises in verses 1 through 37 and a pivot in verse 38 that indicate the enemies have won against Israel and pleads for God to turn from his wrath and save Israel now. We'll examine the Messianic promises in verses 1 through 4, 20, and 26 through 7. And again, we'll take the format of looking at the English, and in this case, we'll stay with the Greek. But I will make reference, as we did with Psalm 20, to the fact that Lord is often Yahweh in Hebrew and Kyrios or Kyrie in this particular place in Greek. Le su Kyrie, which is O Lord, este ton aion asomaya. I will sing of the loving kindness of the Lord forever. In generations and generations, apostello, I will make known the faithfulness, the truth is of the name, your faithfulness. In Greek, it's to aletheia su, in to somate, in my mouth, with my mouth. So notice that in there you have a slight difference between the English and the Greek. For you, and that's a subordinate clause, have said, Epheseus in ton ian. Now this is where the Greek puts the most important forever. Your loving kindness, ethos, will be built up. Oikodomentesai, which is like building a house, will build up. And in the heavens thou will establish etemosasai tai aletheia, truth. Notice how truth is really being replaced instead of faithfulness. This is a concept that is important. Notice the focus on truth. I have made or granted a covenant, because you notice that the next word, dia mentesa, is from the verb diatithemi, which is the following meanings: to make formal arrangement according to the BDAG. It can be a formal arrangement for something done or brought about, a decree or an ordaining of something, to make a disposition or arrange for the disposition of property after one's death. It is likely it is the first thing that is occurring here. I have made, I have granted, I have decreed, I have brought about a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn to David my servant to establish your seed. Esto ionis. Again, the most important in Greek was put first, etomasan, to establish, to speriama su. So that, notice how the Greek is actually putting forever, which is the emphasis, and then giving the verb and the establishing your seed last. So it's important to realize that the Greek is actually giving us some hint on what might be happening. And to build up, again, you have oikodemensa, a future tense, and again this tense, eis, egenaha, to all generations. So it's important to look. I have found David my servant, and with holy oil I have anointed it. Here you have the very clear, Iran, Dave, to Dula Moi, Mu. So notice you brought David my servant, and with holy oil, Elakal Tuo Muo Ek Risa, which means I have anointed him. Notice in here you have the same thing inside of the Greek. You have David, which is in Hebrew. Now let's go into a little longer passage, but just pull out a few pages. In 24 through 39, he will cry to me, thou art my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I shall make him my firstborn, the highest king of earth. Notice that this language is one where the human king or the Messianic king is promised to be his firstborn, the one who gets the larger share, the one who will be the highest king. And I have my loving kindness, I will keep him forever, my covenant shall be confirmed, and I will establish his descendants forever, and his throne is the days of heaven. This is very important if you were vassal king. You always wanted to keep the God, the deity who was ahead of you, to be with you. What happens if your descendants break the law? Well, 30 through 37. If his sons forsake my laws, if they do not walk in my judgments, if they violate my statutes, if they do not keep my commandments. Notice, this is parallelism. Then I will visit their translation with a rod and their iniquity stripes. Again, a parallelism. I will not break off his loving kindness nor deal falsely. My covenant will I not violate, nor will I alter the utterance of my lips. Notice, you have four things that say, two sets of parallel verses. It says, God will not change. Why? Once I have sworn in my holiness, I will not lie to David. God swears by his own holiness, having nothing higher to swear for, that his descendants shall endure forever, and his throne as before the sun. This is an important point where you have the Messianic thing being established and being established forever. Now, this particular psalm promises actions that will last forever. Another psalm, Psalm 10, gives the same type of reference, and we will look at that next. Again, thank you for viewing the fourth part of the Messianic promises in Acts 17, or that affect Acts 17, and part 4.